Welcome to Bruce Hurwitz Presents Meet the Experts. I'm your host, Bruce Hurwitz of Hurwitz Strategic Staffing. You can find us on the web at hsstaffing.com. I hope you'll consider us for all your staffing, career counseling, and professional writing needs. Momentarily, I will be joined by Martin Hristov, and we'll be discussing holistic well-being. Meet the Experts is sponsored by P&K CPAs. P&K is a full-service accounting firm. They provide accounting and consulting services to businesses ranging from startups to small and mid-cap companies to nonprofits as well as high-net-worth individuals. Contact them today for a free consultation at info@pk-cpas.com or call them at 973-882-8810. They will be happy to be of service. Martin, welcome to the program.
Hi, Bruce. Thank you for having me.
It is my pleasure. Please take a moment or two and introduce yourself to our viewers.
That's always an interesting interesting question or invitation. The simplest way to describe myself is to make it as short as possible is a modern day Renaissance man, or like a fine and rare blend between a mystic, a metaphysician, a practical philosopher, natural scientist, multifaceted artist, inspirational speaker, author, and coach, and among many other things, a relentless adventurer. So that's the simplest way to put it. But generally speaking, apart from all these labels, that's what it comes down to. I'm a human being that is making genuine effort every single day to better itself and be of service to others, and elevate human consciousness and be a great model for others to aspire as well to live their life as, or in any way, shape, or form to inspire others to elevate their well-being and their functioning in our world.
I was a bit surprised that you described yourself as a Renaissance man, and I'm not, and I should make it clear that I asked you before we began, but a Renaissance man who has a background picture of a fresco of a Czech Republic monastery seems a little contradictory.
Well, Renaissance man in the sense of not the particular period, space, and time of the Renaissance, but what it stands for somebody who's multifaceted and have many dimensions of not just interests and pursuits, but very highly skilled in many directions and polymatic in a sense. So in that essence,
yourself as a polymath.
That would be another way to put it, but polymath is somebody who knows just information. A Renaissance man is somebody, in my opinion, or how I perceive what the word stands for or represent and has represented throughout the centuries, is somebody who actually not only knows about a lot of subjects, but also can put them into practice. Somebody who walks the talk, not just talk the talk.
Now, our talk is about holistic well-being. So let's take each separately. What is the meaning of holistic?
The simplest way to make it, again, to simplify things, holistic mean whole, or addressing the wholeness of something, or bringing something into wholeness. That's where the word derives from, and that's its true meaning. In other words, when it comes down to well-being, it's addressing each and every important aspect of well-being.
Years ago, I had a conversation with a friend in the cafeteria at the university, and it was the first time that everybody around us stopped talking and was listening. And the conversation went something like this. He said, everybody wants well-being, but it's not always the best thing. It can sometimes be beneficial, the opposite. And I said, you got to explain this one. Well, if you're feeling rotten, you can, I forget the term he used, you can wallow in your own misery and you can get a lot out of it. You can learn from the negative as much as you can learn from the positive. Now, this was a long conversation and I don't want to take up our time. Most people will automatically say, well, well-being is positive and you want the positive. And for lack of a better term, ill-being is a negative and you don't want it. But you can learn from negatives, just as you can learn from positives. So what would you say to somebody who says to you, embrace negativity, learn from it, and learn how to turn it around into a positive?
Well, what I would say is that's pretty much how life works, because unless you really get slammed into the face or you suffer, many people choose to just keep on doing what they've been doing. You have to suffer a lot. You have to be in a lot of pain and in a lot of torment in order to choose to do something different, because it's in our modern day that is built around convenience and consumerism. Nobody wants to feel discomfortable, right? And every time you want to create any change or transformation in your life, doesn't matter what aspect that is, you'll have to go through a certain degree of discomfort and uncertainty. And nobody likes that, but it's necessary. And usually the way most people are forced to create a change is because they are faced with some accident or circumstances they cannot ignore, they cannot escape from, they cannot numb out, they cannot choose to not engage with. So in other words, in life school, you only learn when the lessons hurt, whether it's physically, whether it's emotionally, whether it's mentally or financially. Otherwise, you don't really learn, because very few people actually sit down to analyze or go back and review and reflect upon what really worked. Because when things work, we kind of like, you drift along the way until they don't. So I would say, when life gives you lemon, you make lemon and you enjoy it. Maybe even make a few bucks out of it. You're good at salesman.
Well, I'm smiling because just about every year there's a news story of some idiot who complains to the police that there's a child selling lemonade and the police have to come and shut the child down because they don't have a permit to sell lemonade. And it is so stupid. And the neighbors look like idiots and the child makes a fortune because everybody wants to buy their lemonade just to shut up the idiot neighbor. But anyways, we all want to enjoy life. We all have frustrations. But as crazy as it sounds, a lot of people don't know how to enjoy the good times. They know how to wallow in self-pity. That's easy. But they don't know how to enjoy good times, success. How do you recommend that people thrive to enjoy life?
There are many ways to go about it, but the first place to start is based on where we are today and the general context of the world we live in and what's expected of us and what is being normalized, which is to be always rushing for the next thing, and always to have these very strict schedules, and to attempt to fit a lot of pieces within an hour, to be always rushing, to be always engaged, to really take a step back and slow down. Because these moments when things are going well, when you're embracing your loved one or in a beautiful place, they're not to be just rushed through and engage with the next thing so you can get to do the next thing. We are called human beings, not human doings. And the only way to enjoy the good times is when you can just be. But that is a very hard thing to do, because to be means that you don't any longer have your addiction of doing, which takes your focus off and allows you to numb out or to be distracted away from the issues that you have to work. Because most people that are busy nowadays, and that's pretty much the majority of humanity across the planet, they're using this as a coping mechanism so they don't have to look in their issues, because everybody has an issue. If you're stuck on this planet in today's life, you have issues. I don't care how wealthy you are, how powerful you are, how significant you are, famous, and so on and so on. Everybody has issues. That's why you're here in Earth School, to learn, to grow, to progress, and hopefully in some lifetime graduate if you're doing the necessary work. But point being, the simplest thing to do is to slow down and to allow space and time for you to really be and enjoy, to feel the sensations on your skin. Maybe it's the sunlight, maybe it's a warm day, maybe it's the breeze, to smell the roses, as the expression goes, to really taste your food when you go to that nice dinner. Enjoy all the flavors. Don't try to shovel it all in your mouth so you can go to the next thing, right? When you touch somebody, really feel the sensation in your hands. Hear things, listen to nature, go into nature somewhere, listen to all the sounds. Look,
Go ahead.
pay attention. You know, there's so much magic and beauty and harmony happening all around us, but again, in this rat race kind of mentality that's been imposed on us by everything, nobody even has time to slow down and smell the roses. And what is this life about? What are you rushing to? There's only one destination at the end. It's the grave. So what's the rush for? Everybody's going to get there. Nobody's getting by. Nobody's getting a free pass. So what are you rushing towards?
One thing we have in common is that we're both authors. Now, I don't know how many of your publications have been peer-reviewed, how many have been traditionally published, and how many have been self-published. None of my business, not asking, doesn't matter. I know that when you are working on a book or an article for a peer-reviewed journal, you are focused on that project. And it can take, I was interviewing someone a few days back, and I said, you know, the gestation period for a book is a lot longer than 9 months. And she laughed because she had been talking about her children. And once the book is finished, and in the old days, you stick it in an envelope and you send it to the publisher, or today you bake it into a PDF and send it to the publisher. All of a sudden, there's a feeling of emptiness. You've been focused on one thing, you completed it. For sake of argument, you did it well. You got a product that you're happy with. And there's nothing really on your schedule for tomorrow. There will be, but right now in this instant, when the manuscript's been sent off, you got nothing to do. So you give yourself a treat. You go and have an ice cream, or you go to the movie, you do something that you haven't been able to do for the length of time you have been focused like a laser on that project. Now, I use books and articles, but this could be a project for work. It could be anything. Could be having a baby. How do you advise people to best get over that feeling of emptiness when they have successfully completed their project?
Well, actually, it's okay to be in that space, because to have that mental space, that emptiness, is a great place to operate from, because in that empty space is when intuitive guidance can come through and great ideas can show up as what's the optimal next step that you can take. So being okay in that space and inviting and sitting with the emptiness and just being okay again, slowing down and just enjoying the fruits of your labor, treating yourself nice, taking some time off, doing things, and so on, it's not this feeling of emptiness is not something to be dread or to run away from. It's to get used to embrace, to be okay with it, to sit with it. Because how often as human beings in our modern productive society are we imposed this psychosis and bias or hypnosis? You always have to be productive. Who says so? Are we human beings or human doings? Again, we are not machines in a factory for something. So there are moments for you to really sit down and slow down. Obviously, everybody's lives is different. With me, for example, when a project is over or brings to completion, I never have this feeling, because I already have I have a plan that goes on afterwards to how to market this project or how to bring it forward to the market and so on. So it's never, I never have the space where, in my personal experience, where you reach that point of emptiness. However, if you do not have an obvious next step, sit with the emptiness. That's what all the greatest inventors in the world used to do, whether it was Tesla or what was his name? His nemesis. He was actually his employer. Edison, Thomas Edison. Yes, Thomas Edison. Or whether it was Steve Jobs from Apple, or even for that matter, Einstein. When they had no current idea they were working on, they're just very happy to sit in that space and to allow their intuition to bring their next idea or this groundbreaking insight that moves it forward. So it's actually in that space when those ideas come out, because otherwise, in that busy space, all you're doing is regurgitating the same crap that's been going on in your head all the time. So you're not going to find anything new. These ideas, they don't come from regurgitation. They come from a different place.
Martin, I'm going to, for technical reasons, because you were breaking up a bit, and I think it has to do with the weather here, and I don't want to lose you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put up your contact information, make you magically appear. Matter of fact, I'll make us both magically appear. And I will ask you a final question. Is there anything I did not ask which you wish I had asked? And if I had asked, what would you have said?
Well, maybe if, what's the one word of, I won't say advice, but rather valuable insight I can leave everybody with. And that is to always challenge your own assumptions and biases, because the world we live in nowadays, is built upon a lot of biases. And neural/brain science showed that we have, human beings have at least 190 scientifically proven, known and written about or documented, well-documented biases that cause us to act in very irrational ways. So my encouragement is to familiarize yourself and start probing these, the biases, the assumptions, and so on, because it's very easy to get stuck in a rut and think that whatever the reason is for things not going your way or going your way or being upset about things or how things should be done, it's always great to challenge those and invite new ideas. So keep an open mind, always, again, challenge your assumptions and beliefs. And most importantly, if you haven't yet, please develop or work on your critical thinking skills, because this is this is a skill that has been completely lacking in nowadays. I know it's just a very rare skill. It has become, as the saying goes, common sense is not very common nowadays.
That is true. Martin, I want to thank you. This has been insightful, and I'm sure I speak for all of our viewers when I tell you how much we appreciate you taking the time.
It was a great privilege and joy to share with you, Bruce, and everyone else. Thank you, everyone. Unceasing blessings.
I'm Bruce Hurwitz. Thank you for watching. And as always, please stay focused on success.